to this week's edition of The Pulse, the first Monday of March 2024. The Supreme Court is about to decide whether Trump is immune from federal prosecution as they laid out a hearing schedule for the former president's immunity claim. This raises doubts that the election interference case back in 2020 against him will go to trial even before the 2024 election. According to the NBC News, reported by Ryan Riley and Lawrence Hurley, the Supreme Court's decision to hear oral arguments on the week of April 22 about whether Trump is entitled to presidential immunity has left open a startling possibility that a former president charged with conspiring to obstruct Congress and disfranchise millions of Americans in an effort to stay in the White House after losing an election may avoid facing trial before he is given a chance to return to the Oval Office. The announcement on Wednesday would be like a winning chance for the former president's effort to delay the criminal charges with him over plotting to overturn the results of the 2020 election, setting arguments this late April. It was Judge Tanya Chutkan who had originally set a trial date for March 4, saying she would give Trump's team 7 months to prepare for trial. However, that timeline was delayed when the case was frozen in December following an appeal from Trump's team. With 88 days left on Trump's preparation timeline, this could mean that should the Supreme Court simply allow that movement, the case will be underway in Chutkan's courtroom as soon as May 2024. This would also mean a delay in Trump's election interference trial for at least a couple of months. The Supreme Court ruling could come before the end of June, but part of it would depend on whether the 9 justices would have a unanimous vote. Typically, it would take longer for the court to come up to a faster resolution of a case, especially if they do not have a unanimous decision and each of them writes their own strong disagreement. Donald Trump, as we all know, is the 45th U.S. president from the Republican Party. He is a controversial figure even before he won the presidential election in 2017. Trump was the 3rd president in U.S. history after Andrew Johnson in 1868 and Bill Clinton in 1998 to be impeached by the U.S. Congress, and the only president to be impeached twice. Once in 2019 for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress in connection with the Ukraine scandal, and once in 2021 for incitement of insurrection in connection with the storming of the United States Capitol by a violent mob of Trump supporters, as the House of Representatives met in joint session to ceremonially count electoral college votes from the 2020 presidential election. Both of Trump's impeachments ended in his acquittal by the U.S. Senate. Trump lost the 2020 election to former Vice President Joe Biden by 306 electoral votes to 232. Trump also lost in popular vote by more than 7 million votes. Furthermore, he is the first president in U.S. history to be charged with a crime during an indictment made by a Manhattan grand jury back in March 2023. He now faces a combined 92 criminal charges in 3 different jurisdictions.
And I'm Sarah Obal. Welcome to The Pulse. In Michigan, a presidential primary showdown took place with Joe Biden coming out the winner on the Democratic side with the uncommitted votes in 2nd place. It's a choice in the ballot similar to none of the above. However, on the Republican side, NBC News called victory for their frontrunner Donald Trump, who has called himself the most pro-Israel president. On the Michigan primary ballot, voters may vote for one of the candidates listed under Republican or the Democratic Party, or they can vote uncommitted, which emphasizes that the voter is exercising a party vote, but does not necessarily mean that the voter is not committed to the candidates listed on the ballot. On the other hand, Michigan voters can also write in a candidate which is different than voting for another name, other than uncommitted. In Michigan, can uncommitted votes be counted? Uncommitted votes are counted just like candidate votes. If a sufficient number of people vote uncommitted, the party can send delegates to the National Nominating Convention who are not committed to a specific candidate. Joseph Biden got 623,415 votes with 82% of precinct reporting, and uncommitted votes got 101,436 among Democrats. In the Republican side, Trump got 758,892 votes, with Nikki Haley coming out in 2nd place with 296,328 votes, with only 13,430 uncommitted votes. Donald Trump took 68.1% and Nikki Haley received 26.6%. This is like Michigan voters' way of sending out their message, or in a way, voicing out their sentiments specifically to Biden over the conflict in the Middle East. According to Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, on voting uncommitted in a video she shared on her social media account, she has voiced out that she is proud to tell the whole world that she voted uncommitted, saying that the government should be about the people. Though 74% of the Michigan voters supported ceasefire, she is sad that President Biden seems deaf to listen to their clamor. As they cast their ballots with their uncommitted votes, she wanted to impart to the people, especially the voters, to think where the country is heading. Listen to the majority of the people who says no more wars. Stop using people's money to fund a genocide, referring to the Gaza region and Israel. Hashtag Listen to Michigan is their cry for President Biden during the February 27th Michigan Democratic primary. This emphasizes to use our democratic rights to choose the leader who will not use violence and war. Thus, exercising our right to suffrage is something empowering. This is the time we can make our votes speak for our democracy. The Pulse will return after a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. The Texas Panhandle wildfire is the second largest in the state's history. According to an article by the Associated Press, this has been a fast-moving wildfire burning through the Texas Panhandle, and it has grown into the second largest in Texas state history. Multiple small towns were ablaze as flames grew at an alarming speed and blackened the landscape across a vast stretch of small towns and cattle ranches. The lone confirmed fatality was an 83-year-old grandmother from the small town of Sinet. Authorities have warned nearby communities about the massive damages, but authorities have yet to do a comprehensive search for more victims, as some are still unknown. This wildfire blaze stretches to more than 1,300 square miles and even reached some parts of Oklahoma. This is also known as the Smokehouse Creek Fire, which is now larger than Rhode Island. Flames are only about 3% contained as of Wednesday afternoon, as per the Texas Forest authorities.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, a teacher made her students fight with real swords in class, leading to a serious injury of a teenage girl, as recounted by the victim's family in a lawsuit. After the first pair of the sparring had completed their 2-minute bout, teacher Mitchell called NS and classmate DM, known only by initials. The injured student, who was named only as NS, according to an article from NBC News, was a 16-year-old teenage girl. She suffered lacerations across her right hand and wrist and sustained severed nerves and tendons during the sword-sparring fight like in Volcano Vista High School back in June 2022.
In world news, the Gaza death toll exceeds 30,000. The Hamas-run health ministry said, according to a report from BBC. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been murdered in Gaza since October 7, according to the Hamas health ministry. That figure translates to approximately 1.3% of the territory's 2.3 million people, and it is the most recent stark reminder of the war's terrible cost. According to the ministry, women and children made up the vast bulk of those deceased. Its statistics make no distinction between civilians and fighters when identifying those dead. The actual number of fatalities is likely to be far higher because the total does not include individuals who have yet to reach hospitals, including thousands of civilians who are still trapped beneath the debris of buildings damaged by the Israeli air raids. The Gaza Ministry of Health, the only official source of casualties, has documented over 70,000 injured persons. Its data is used by UN agencies and other international organizations. The World Health Organization states that it has a long-standing cooperation with the Gaza Authority and good capacity in data collection analysis. The UN body considers its prior reporting reliable and well-developed. In order for a Palestinian death to be recorded in Gaza, hospital staff or medical professionals must see the corpse or remains. At the conclusion of each day, hospitals send a list of all victims to a centralized Ministry of Health system, containing names, identity numbers, date of injury or death, and information of injuries and condition. The United Nations warns that a quarter of Gaza's population is now at risk of hunger and starvation, and that infectious diseases have increased dramatically, exacerbated by a general lack of medications and medical services. Infectious disease and hunger have increased dramatically, as has the overall shortage of medicines and medical services. The battle began October 7 when thousands of Hamas fighters poured into southern Israel, murdering around 1,200 people and taking 253 hostages, according to Israeli reports. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stick around.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Enjoy Film TV Network on KGNG 26.8 Las Vegas and www.filmtv.us. Search for and download Film TV Network in Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Download the WCE TV app from smartphones and search for Film TV.
Associated Press, the Filipino volunteer fireman in Australia who saved the Outback Fire Brigade was honored in the Australian Parliament. The Filipino immigrant who helped a small outback town maintain its volunteer fire department was honored in the Australian Parliament on Thursday during a special session to welcome Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is on a state visit. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese lauded Samson Bokul as an example of the Philippine diaspora's determination to contribute back to the community. Obal resides in the small South Australian town of Port Wakefield. The 600-person hamlet was on the verge of disbanding its country fire service in 2022 due to a shortage of volunteer firefighters. Bokul, who immigrated in 2014, was the sole volunteer who responded to a last-ditch recruitment push. He paved the path for an influx of Filipino recruits. Bokul's family, friends, and the larger Filipino community have joined the Port Wakefield Brigade, which is now virtually fully staffed, according to a local brigade captain, Warren Miller. His dedication to duty won the respect and affection of his fellow volunteers, and he soon passed the word to others, Marcos said. Today, Filipinos make up a quarter of the country fire service and half of the cadets. This is the characteristic of the spirit of the Filipino diaspora that lives in Australia, Prime Minister Albanese said. The South Australia Country Fire Service has previously praised Buckel's contributions. South Australia is larger than France and Germany combined, but has a population of less than 2 million. With wildfires threatening much of the state, the government supplies firefighting equipment and training to local volunteers who protect their own remote communities. Local brigades also respond to floods and other situations that endanger lives and property. Buckel stated that he had pondered joining after observing volunteers respond to flooding in Port Wakefield in 2016. I thought, how can I join them? But I was too shy to ask at the time, Buckel told a recent Country Fire Service article. They gave a warm welcome and a good treatment, he told the Australian Broadcasting Corporation.
As news from Australia continues, there is now a national security scandal in that country. According to an Al Jazeera report, Australia's spy head is now under pressure to name a former politician accused of having sold out the country to a foreign power. Mike Burgess, Director General of Security for the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, said in an annual speech on Wednesday evening that a spy team from an undisclosed country nurtured and recruited a former Australian politician. In a speech in Canberra, Burgess stated that this politician turned out their country, party, and former colleagues to further the interests of the foreign regime. Burgess stated in his speech that a foreign intelligence service unit known as the A-Team had designated Australia as a priority target and deliberately targeted persons with privileged information via social networking sites and financial incentives. Burgess went on to say that the unidentified former politician was recruited several years ago and proposed a strategy to bring a prime minister's family member into the spy's orbit. But the plan was not carried out. He stated that authorities had not charged the individual since they were no longer active. Following the unexpected revelations, Alex Turnbull, former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's son, told news.com.au in an interview on Thursday that he was approached about an infrastructure project by a group of suspected Chinese agents in 2017 while his father was in government. He claimed the group was linked to a former New South Wales State Labour Party parliamentarian but did not name the individual. However, current and past opposition party members have asked for the ex-politician's name to be made public in order to eliminate speculations. Former Parliamentary Treasurer Joe Hockey, who also served as ambassadors to the United States, echoed the call for the ex-politicians to be named. Australia is currently a member of the Five Eyes Intelligence Sharing Network, which comprises the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and New Zealand, making it a target for operatives from China and Russia.
According to CNN, Iran prepared for poor election attendance as pleas for resistance votes fall on deaf ears. Iran is scrambling to increase voter turnout ahead of legislative elections on March 1st, but urges to go to the polls may go unheard as Iranians cope with an ailing economy, growing political cynicism, and a suppressed protest movement. The 290-seat legislative election includes 15,000 candidates, including 144 contesting for the 88 seats of the Assembly of Experts, which has the right to appoint Iran's supreme leader. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is over the age of 84. Therefore, if he dies during the body's 8 years mandate, this new assembly will choose his successor. No, I will not vote, a 23-year-old Iranian lady told CNN in Tehran. They take place as a show and propaganda, and in my opinion, participating in such events is being complicit in helping their political propaganda, she added, requesting anonymity for fear of retaliation from authorities. Despite this, authorities are eager to mobilize voters, hoping to instill a sense of responsibility and resistance among Iranians in the midst of Israel's attack in Gaza. This month, Khamenei urged Iranians to visit polling places, writing in X that elections are the main pillar of the Islamic Republic. He reminded Iranians that their enemies would try to discourage them from voting, and that casting a ballot was their responsibility and a sign of resistance. Everyone should know that fulfilling these duties and responsibilities is an act of jihad and confronting the enemy because they do not want these duties to be fulfilled, Khamenei was quoted as saying by the Tehran Times.
As the primary election is fast approaching, the committee to elect Christian Bishop for Nevada State Senate is doubling down their effort already. Christian Bishop, a television actor in the TV series Bachelorette in one of its seasons and a newcomer in politics, has launched his campaign. Wanting to tap the Filipino-American vote, which still now is considered a swing vote, has named Margie Lorente Gonzalez as his campaign manager. In the Nevada scene, Margie Gonzalez is known as the film community organizer and has been involved in many community undertakings for the Asians and film community in Las Vegas. Our take on this is that Margie Gonzalez can usher the vote of Filipino Americans in Senate District 5, which encompasses a district that includes demographics of different ethnicity, including Hispanic and Black voters and white Democrats. Here's some footage from the campaign launch.
Thank you so much. Guys, the primary is June. We need 5,000 votes from Democrats this June. I'm a bipartisan guy. I'm going to work across the aisle as well and represent the needs and interests of our community, especially in Henderson. I'm going to work together with folks, Republicans and Democrats, and I think that's what's going to be needed to win the election come November as well, where we need 30,000 votes in the general, and that's where everybody gets votes, regardless of your party classification. So it's critical that we show up. Anybody you know that lives in the Henderson community, please share the message with them as well. Feel free to connect me. Glad to meet with anybody. I'm here to represent be your champion as well on this journey, guys. Thank you. Back to you.
Well, folks, we are out of time for this edition of The Pulse. Please join us again next time. I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould.
And I'm Sarah Obal. Thank you and God bless your week.
Enjoy Film TV Network on KGNG 26.8 Las Vegas and www.filmtv.us. Search for and download Film TV Network in Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Download the WCE TV app from smartphones and search for Film TV.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
It's real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.